Hey there, everyone. Michael Damon back with you here for episode 9 of Starbeam.one Stand-Up and Shine and Shill. A little series episode here where I go through and talk about Starbeam.one, what I've been working on, what I will be working on, and any sort of friction points and more. Let's begin. Okay, some program notes. So I'm kind of wanting to use this slide to sort of establish context, general direction, sort of like the "you are here" pin on a mall map sort of thing, right? And so 2 weeks ago we had the Friends and Family release. I'm calling this Alpha Zero now. And so that's Alpha Zero, and that's what I'm developing. So Alpha Zero is actually developing features for Alpha 1. So when all the features of Alpha 0 are done, we're actually going to be moving into Alpha 1, if you can understand that. So it's sort of Alpha 1 is the next release, and that's going to be in the October-November timeframe. And so that's sort of kind of what I look at. But all the features for Alpha 1 are being developed during Alpha 0, if that makes sense. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming slides, but I just want to show kind of where we're at right now. So I'll say Alpha 0, which is now, but that also means the Friends and Family, which was released 2 weeks ago. Okay, dashboard. So, we actually caught this at a good time, just refreshed 2 minutes ago. And if you want to get to the dashboard, anyone can view the dashboard. You can just go up here and to the hamburger menu icon and just click that and you can go to the dashboard right there. So it takes you all the stats for the system and kind of like an overview of all the sales and visitors. We've had 3 visitors today. It doesn't really sound like a lot, but actually, for the past month we've had quite a bit. But it seems to be about 10 people per day, and kind of some of them are bots right now. So again, just not really promoting it that much and just getting these last features in for these next few months. Then the promoting is going to start happening, for better or for worse. And hopefully we can start getting a little bit more traction there. But kind of just going through, you can see we have some different accounts that were created with these different providers. So this all happened 2 weeks ago with the announcement, with the launch. So it's kind of stale at this point, but you can see that there's been some activity, and hopefully we can grow this over time. With accounting, you can see that we've got some deposits, and this is kind of like the aha for me, is that I'm actually custody of these funds, right? And that's sort of that was expected, and it's actually not too bad of a deal, because if the funds go out, you have to go through PayPal right now. And so, we definitely, PayPal's going to protect me just as much as they protect you, sort of thing. So if there's any sort of, shenanigans that happen with that, we've got protection there. So it's not really that big of a deal, but still it kind of makes me nervous, right? It's sort of like one of these things I want to have a really good grasp on the observability of that. And there's a big story that I've been kind of pushing off for quite some time now. It's called the it's called the administration application, and that's kind of what I'm going to be focused on. We'll get into that in the next slides, but this is sort of the thing. Looking at these numbers, right? It's like, whoa, this is actual real world money that people put into the system, and they used it to buy digital product, right? And it's just so cool to see that. And so we can see here with the accounts receivable, we've got $1 to Starbeam.one's name here now, right? This is like the accounts receivable. This is how we're going to be paying off the bills, and which would be really expensive when we actually pay for them. But right now, again, we're with Microsoft for startups, and we don't have to pay for that until next year sometime. So we're sitting okay with that. But that's going to be the account that we draw from. And then finally, kind of again, just looking at this, right? So we have $65 in for deposits, and then $15. That was kind of the demo that I did that kind of broke during the session last week, or excuse me, the last session 2 weeks ago. And so totally we've got $50 sitting in the network right now. And then of course the last transaction balance here, they need to even out, and they do. So those are the stats for this week. Now let's move on to the next slide here. All right, so what did I do, man? So I launched the product. I launched the application on my birthday 2 weeks ago, right? And it was really fun, right? It was really cool. But on the morning that it happened, there were so many bugs. There were just so many little issues that popped up. And I basically spent 10 days fixing every single one of them. And so it was also kind of a downer for me, because I was wanting to get this thing published and I wanted to promote it. And I did. I promoted it everywhere except for Twitter. I haven't promoted it on Twitter at all yet. And I just, it really takes momentum to post on Twitter for me, because it's such... you just never know. It's like a jack in the box, right? You just never know what you're going to expect with that place. And it just takes one tweet to kind of bring it down. I know I shouldn't have let it affect me that much. Just sort of a confidence thing for me. So just wanting to get this into a place of confidence before I start taking it out on Twitter and sort of thing. And I'm probably, fearing it more than it actually, most of the fear is in my mind. It actually doesn't exist out there, but it's just one of those things I want to be in a good spot. So, and unfortunately it probably won't be for a while. So it's right now it's sort of friends and family, and, which I have, right? We've got 7 sales. I have 7 sales, which is something I haven't been able to claim before in my entire life. And that's really awesome. So I'm really just clinging to that. And so, hopefully now the focus on being with the administration application, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide, that's going to be, that's the focus. More friends, family, kind of quiet right now. The other thing that I worked on is payouts, right? And the more I look at it, the more lucky I feel with having PayPal payouts. So PayPal payouts work. We have that, so we have that to rely on, and but it's only one thing right now. So there's only one provider. So if PayPal payouts for whatever reason has a problem, then we're kind of up the creek, as the expression goes. So that's sort of the thing that I'm looking at, is getting Coinbase on board, and we'll see that Coinbase is having some problems. And it turns out that I can't use Stripe because Stripe, I could use Stripe, but it's not used for consumer. It's more of a business to business sort of thing. So it's not business to consumer. And that was kind of an ugly story. So I spent all my time fixing bugs. And then I tried to get more providers in, or payout providers, and I couldn't get them in. So yeah, I'm not really feeling like fully, and we'll talk about it with the efficiency rating, but that's kind of what I did for the past 2 weeks here. Okay, so I talked about this a little bit. What am I doing, right? That we've got all the features going up here. I've got that set up now to the Alpha 1 announcement. I'm shooting for November 1st right now. It might be done before then, but right now I'm feeling like I just need a lot of time, right? The last thing I need is just kind of compressing things to kind of force me to do something. I don't want to be. I think I've discussed that here. The program that sort of mentality is not conducive for me. It just is not productive. So I'm just giving myself plenty of time right now. And right now I'm doing the Alpha 1 features during the Alpha 0. And I split that up into 2 different primary features. I've got the A features and I got the B features. And in between is this application, this administration application. It's the final application. And I did write a version way back when I first started this. That was over 2.5 years ago. And I haven't done anything with it since. And it's like so important right now, because what I'm doing is I'm going into SQL Server, and that's how I know all my data, right? And I'm okay with that. But in order to do that, you have to get into SQL Server, and you have to open up a rule, and it has to know my IP address, and I'm just not really comfortable with that, right? So if I want to do this the proper way, it has to be done on an application that sits on Azure, and then all the permissions are set and everything like that. So, and then also, it's just, I'm not a really big fan of SQL, right? That's why I spend all this time with Entity Framework and getting Entity Framework to work, and I have 0 SQL in my application, over 100,000 lines of code, almost 110,000 at this point, but of C#, right? And there's very little JavaScript, 100 lines of JavaScript, and there's no SQL. And so it's all done through Entity Framework, which is awesome. And I just kind of like to keep it that way. So right now, like when I started going through those deposits, and I was like, ooh, who made a deposit? And I found it and everything, but I wasn't feeling really comfortable considering the security concerns and all that. So I want to have an application that puts all that in place before I start advertising this out to people, right? It's just like, this is just a little taste of it, right? I got 7 people to go in and deposit it. By the way, there were no errors. There were no exceptions, and everyone found it just fine. They were able to purchase it just fine. I didn't have to guide anyone. It was awesome. Just really amazing. That was the best birthday present I could hope for at that point, and by that measure. So everything worked just well, but it's just like, okay, now I'm in control of this money, and I really want to feel comfortable knowing where it is and how to manage it, right? If there's a problem, I want to have that. I want to have those buttons, right? I want to have buttons to push, and I don't want to be going through SQL and writing SQL statements. So, okay, so that's kind of what that administration application is, and that's a big focus right now. And I hope to be in that about, it looks like about 10 days from now. So the next program, I should be into that. Friction points, man. So, I'm going to post a comment in the description here of Microsoft support, man. Microsoft, they do write good software, but the supporting the software is such a challenge. And if you want support, that's where the friction occurs with Microsoft, and it's just, people are really friendly, really professional. That's not a problem, but it's just the tooling and everything around it, the processes around how they support that software is such a churn. It's such a friction point. So I've got Microsoft on my friction point list here, and Azure support, they're really good. Their Twitter support is really good. If the rest of Azure support was like their Twitter support, there would be no problem, right? But here I am, I've got this priority B ticket through Azure, and it's been there since May 13th, and it's a permissions problem. And it's just like, does it really take 39 days to fix this permission problem? You know, it just seems like this should be fixed a lot faster, sort of thing. So they're on my list here, and I have a link in the description there that points to the the Twitter thread that I posted this morning about it. It was just such an ordeal. Anyways, from there we've got Coinbase, and Coinbase they're getting on my list here, friction. So, and I've mentioned this issue before because this is an issue that's been going on since 2019. And back in 2019, they had this issue where people are trying to post this publicly posted API point with the exact parameters that they have posted themselves, that Coinbase posted themselves with their documentation. Use those exact parameters and fields and everything, and it returns this obscure error. And it's been known since 2019, and we've been trying to get a hold of someone to fix this. And so now Coinbase has this forum, and they're really good with their feedback there. And so now the clock has been reset, and it's been 29 days right now to kind of like, okay, so we've now officially reported on this really engaging forum. They've been doing really good work there, but now it's been 29 days and we haven't really heard anything. And it's just like, again, sort of like back to Microsoft. It's like, does it take 39 days to fix a permissions problem? Well, this is actually worse, right? This is like having my homepage, my dashboard, right? So I'm going to say, go to my dashboard, and the dashboard's broken, right? It doesn't even work, right? It's like an advertised thing, and I'm telling you, go to my dashboard, and it's broken. Well, how long do you think it would take me to fix that, right? It's just like, sort of like, I have this advertised thing, and I'm giving you the directions on how to use it, and it's completely broken. So I'm thinking like, I'm going to get updates in hours, in a time frame of hours. And here we are 29 days later, or 20 days later, however long it's been, and it still hasn't been anything. Plus, I'm giving a free pass here. I'm giving a free pass on, the 3 years that we've been since 2019. But no, it's already been 29 days, and it's just like, I think we should have a little bit of update for such an obvious issue, right? So Coinbase is getting on my list here, and, going forward every 2 weeks, we're going to see how they do here. Effectiveness level, yeah. So not as much as I was last show. I was feeling really effective, even though there are all these issues that showed up the day before. I've never really had that. I haven't had that happen on this project yet. That was the first time. I hope that's the last time that does happen. But I fixed all the bugs. The good news is I fixed all the bugs, and they weren't really all that big of a problem. But it took 10 days to do it, right? It was just all these different things. I had to rewrite a feature. I'm feeling much better about that now. That was the rendering problem that I had with a withdraw demo last week, or last show. And so that's fixed. I'm feeling better about that. From there, it was just like, here I am, I'm researching Coinbase, still broken 3 years later, even though I am giving a free pass, but still, now there's a new forum sort of thing. But anyway, so there's that. And then there's also Stripe. And there was another thing that happened with the ASP.NET Contrib. I opened up a post on ASP.NET Contrib, and I was like, hey, I'm going to make a Stripe OAuth 2 provider, and I'm feeling really confident about it, and I just completely misunderstood, and it ended up having me like just with egg on my face going back to that forum and being like, yeah, I can't do it because I misunderstood it. I shouldn't have opened up this issue, and so that was embarrassing. And so yeah, right now just I was fixing bugs, and I'm not really building anything right now, and it's just like feeling really blah. So a little bit lower. Yeah, speaking of feeling low, there's no demo this week, no shilling. I'm actually really just not feeling it this week. I'm doing this just for the sake of doing it, and I think it's a great practice to have. I'm really feeling kind of blah over everything right now. Hopefully once I start getting into the administration application, that will help out. The other issue is that I'm starting to feel some stress over my sales, right? Like I'm wanting to put some product out there, but the way that I'm doing my products right now are through references, through Pinterest. And so I'm doing these reference Pinterest thing, and I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize that. If I could monetize that, that would be awesome. Problem is that all the material on Pinterest is most likely or is copyrighted. And so there's a huge challenge there of getting that material that I'm using to draw from and getting permission for that, because the references is, and it's sort of interesting. It's like, well, is it really the copyright holder that's posting these things? Because that's not how Pinterest works. Pinterest works is like, hey, I see this picture and I'm posting it. Well, do you have the copyright owner's permission to do that? Sort of thing. So there's just a lot of things I'm going through because I have this application now that's posted and I can make money from it, but I also I'm feeling that stress of like, well, do I really want to promote it that much because I don't want to gain that much traction until I have this administration application sort of thing. So I'm feeling kind of blah. I'm feeling like in a different zone right now, and I'm hoping that getting this administration application will help out a lot and focus on that. Anyways, this feels like it should be a different slide, right? This should be its own slide of its own. But anyways, just kind of finishing around out here. If you got any feedback, let me know, and I do appreciate all the feedback that you have given, all the likes, all the subscriptions and purchases up to this point as well. Very much appreciate it, and we'll see you next show in 2 weeks. And until next time, stay bright and stay safe out there. Goodbye.